and the UDC to be drilled on procedural matters.
Government mulls the cancellation of permits for harvesting Mopane worms, firewood and grass.
While 24 bodies of illegal miners retrieved in the shaft at Buffelsfontein Gold Mine in South Africa. A very good morning. We're live from Gaborone, the capital. My name is Khomatsego Utukile.
I'm Reginald Richardson. Let's go straight to the top story. President Advocate Duma Boko is set to attend cabinet orientation this morning. Now, the drilling of the first batch of newly appointed cabinet ministers under the umbrella for Democratic Change administration is expected to focus on equipping them with key policy insights to ensure effective leadership and cohesion in decision-making. The initiative aims to ensure that the cabinet ministers are well-versed with the complexities of government functions, parliamentary procedures, and the execution of their political pledges in alignment with national policies. The program is poised to affirm governance in Botswana, creating a seamless transition into a more cohesive and informed administration. President Boko's administration is faced with the dual challenge of addressing the expectation of a populace eager for change and navigating the complexities of governance in a multi-party republic following the ending of the Botswana Democratic Party's 58-year rule.
Now, yesterday, President Advocate Duma Boko officially signed a book of condolences in honor of the late Jimmy Carter, the 39th President of the United States. The 100-year-old Jimmy Carter passed away on the 29th of December 2024. The former U.S. President and a Nobel Peace Prize laureate is remembered for his unwavering commitment to civil and human rights, both during and after his presidency. The Ambassador of the United States of America to Botswana, Mr. Howard Van Franken, has described the late Jimmy Carter as a principled leader who championed the causes of human rights and dignity for all. He said his legacy speaks to the impact of one individual can make on the world stage. Jimmy Carter's legacy is marked by his post-presidency humanitarian work, which includes the establishment of the Carter Center in 1982, aimed at promoting global health and democratic governance. Now, his efforts in mediating international disputes and advocating for free and fair elections have redefined what it means to serve in public office. Now, during his time in office from 1977 to 1981, Jimmy Carter faced numerous challenges, including economic turmoil and a foreign policy crisis. Nevertheless, his commitment to human rights remained steadfast.
He was a trained, naval warrior who won the Nobel Peace Prize because he brought peace to the Middle East between Egypt and Israel. This is a guy who trained as a nuclear engineer, but he was absolutely dedicated to ridding the world of nuclear weapons. I mean, he was someone who really, based all of his work on how he can help humanity. How can he make the world a better place? It's very inspiring for anybody who studies that. This is a man who, as president, was able to do things that I think people didn't think were going to be possible, making peace in the Middle East, and he won the Nobel Prize for that. So he's very inspirational for a lot of Americans. While we mourn his loss, we can celebrate his life, because I say it was a tremendously rich life that was full of contributions and guided by principle. So it was very interesting. I thought it was particularly fitting that His Excellency the President came today to sign the condolence book, because he's another leader who has identified the basis of his policy to be a respect for human rights, and that really resonates with people in the United States.
Now, the Monipa wastewater treatment plant project is said to be progressing well. Speaking during the tour of the project in Molepolole on Tuesday, the Member of Parliament for Molepolole North, Mr. Arafat Khan, expressed his satisfaction with the progress made on the project, citing that he is optimistic that it will be completed on time and on budget. Jessica Pilani.
This is the 6th project out of the 7 contracts under the Molepolle Water and Sanitation Project. Even though this project is said to be progressing well and will be due for completion around August this year, it has been noted that this plant will not be in operation, as it will wait for the awarding of tenders for the other 2 major water network projects, which were supposed to be carried out before this one.
So ke yone challenge e le gore rena le yone ka ne ke bua gore plant ena ga e fela e tlhokana le gore ga e.
The main challenge is that this project are not carried out at the same time, though they rely on one another. So this plant will wait for the other projects to be completed for it to become fully functional.
So se le gore yaanong ya go hella anong ga di sa dirwa e be mai di emela gore di dirwe.
I will now have to go back to the relevant authorities, such as the Minister of Water and Human Settlement, and to the President, ask him to prioritize these 2 major projects to help in addressing some of our challenges. Though this project is designed for sanitation services, there are other benefits that comes with this project.
A le so a dirisitsweng e be a tla go tsana mo seemong sa gore a ka gona gore ano a dirisiwe for thulaganyo ya le gore e ka nna tsa agriculture go nosetsa mo dilong tse dintseng jang. Me part of the products.
Water which will be cleaned here can be used for agricultural purposes, while methane gas produced here can be used in our households, even though at the moment we do not have any arrangements of how to store it.
Methane e leng gore e dirisiwa gone mo matlong go apaya ga e le gore tota mo gompieno ga rena process ya gore gas ena e storiwe.
The water treatment plant will clean about 26 milliliters of water per day when it's fully operational. Jessica Pilani, BTV News, Molepolole.
Acquiring permits for paying in order to gather mopane worms, firewood or grass for selling will be a thing of the past, as government is about to implement regulations that stipulate doing those things freely. This was said by the Member of Parliament for Natakweta, who is also the Assistant Minister of Health, Mr. Lawrence Okeditse, in Mosetse on Monday. Terry Makweng has more.
Gathering mopane worms, grass and firewood for selling are some of the activities some BOTSWANA have been embarking on for a very long time. But in the recent years, they have been required to either attend some permits or pay some amount before they can proceed to do them. This is something they found discouraging because these activities didn't necessarily bring them much income. Nevertheless, government plans to implement regulations that will free such people from paying. Some people earn a living by gathering mopane worms, firewood or grass, but these things are now being paid for. When we came into power, we agreed that one of the things we'll do is to ensure that you are able to gather those things without paying, because we understand that most of you don't have jobs. The regulations will be in such a way that those gathering mopane worms, firewood and grass on a smaller scale will not pay, and those on a larger or commercial scale will be requested to pay a certain amount. This is a way to preserve the environment.
At a commercial level.
Going forward, we will require those people who harvest these things on a commercial level to pay, because those ones make big profits. Still at this meeting, residents shared their concerns, which include shortage of water, amongst others. A borehole was constructed for us. Initially, we were happy about it, but now things have changed.
gongwe potato ka hare o tenna upside gompieno
ke ne ke le raya ke re kgang ya metsi ke kopa
I requested that you exercise patience for at least 20 months because that water tender was awarded last year in November and will be completed in 20 months.
ya bilwe mme go ra re go a go hela mo kgweding tse 20.
Government is committed to fulfill its promises to the nation and acknowledges that cooperation between the leaders and communities will make that much easier. Terry Makgoeng, BTV News, Mosetse.
All right, let's stay with the Member of Parliament for Natagweta, Mr. Lawrence Okidze. He says Soa Town has the potential to grow its industry base if efforts are made to expedite it as a special economic zone. Mr. Okidze recently met with the SENS authorities and the township leadership to discuss ways of developing Soa Town.
Mr. Okedidze is of the view that to grow Natagweta constituency, Soa needs to grow first, and the soda ash mined in this town can be used to make several end products, which will in turn resuscitate the local economy and open up employment opportunities. He says this can be achieved if government ministries and other stakeholders work together to bring developments.
If you look into Soa, the way it is a town that to some extent had been rendered lifeless, and we've stopped this town from growing because we tell for instance, all the houses that you've got around here are owned by the BHC and then leads to the council or the mine or such other authorities. So basically, that makes Sua a captive environment that cannot grow. So we thought, okay, let's have a meeting with different stakeholders. And then one of the key stakeholders in this case was CESA, because they're looking at special economic zones.
The Special Economic Zone Authority shares the same vision with the area lawmaker, and they are motivated to speed up the process of turning Soa into a hub of mining activities and manufacturing.
The Soa Special Economic Zone is very key for Botswana, because this is where we'll be able to now produce fertilizers, produce animal feed, produce chemicals that will be used in water treatment. It was an interesting session because the minister was quite enthusiastic, and he guided us very well. I'm very convinced that this special economic zone will develop quicker than most.
Apart from the development discussions, Soa residents complain about buying drinking water time and again, as the water supplied in their town is not safe for consumption, and they are still waiting for the Soa Water Master Plan to address their challenges. Kedi Bonye Lekalake, BTV News, Soa.
Thank you for staying with us. We're live from Gaborone, the capital. And more news, the Minister for State President, Mr. Monipa, says the Umbrella for Democratic Change government promotes transparency and openness. In a meeting with public relations officers from different ministries, Minister Monipa encouraged the public officers to be responsible and hardworking public servants to help transform the country, and also to be free in communicating their challenges. Minister Monipa reiterated that the government plans to make Botswana Television a public broadcaster run by an independent board with no political interference. Let's get the report.
Because I can assure you, I will not be more than you and some victimize you. Let's answer to Napus air tankayon has put to Pusway hole like a hotel laupe. About a morubua molama putulokile. Mea Sara undermined. You are talking about paper heights or this color Taba Ubua Lereta victimize you. That is not going to happen more than 10 years. Mrs. Really puso Rika La Hotaya Botswana Television in a public broadcaster. Maybe they are like a board, independent of political interference. A reporter to committee parliament. ga se re se buang a ke ra no re mo pusong ne mo ga re nyane ba bua le ba ipapatsa. It's because it's in our DNA. O bona gore go nna le transparency, go nna le puso ya batho ka batho ya ba maruri. Jalo lona ke lona tabo le compete with other actors in society. O bapatsa puso le gore lentswe la puso le tsene mo BTV, le tsene mo Daily News, le tsene mo radio.
But having heard di kakgelo tsa lona, one thing we are not confused about as a government is that the change that came ka di 31 tsa October, it was collective efforts from BOTSWANA ka kakaretso.
Farmers in Tlokweng have called on government to address developmental issues that hinder them to plow enough to achieve food security and improve their livelihoods. Farmers highlighted this during a consultative meeting with their Member of Parliament, Mr. Pinyo Sohoko, at BOTSWANA, noting issues such as the lack of basic infrastructure, including access roads to farms, water, fencing, and land certificates. Monica has more.
Tlokweng is one of the villages in the greater Gaborone that is surrounded by farms for agricultural purposes. However, according to the Minister of Agriculture, the residents have so far plowed only 25 hectares out of the 800 hectares available. The residents expressed concern over the difficulty in accessing their farms due to poor state of roads, access to water, and land certificates from the land board.
Megana go lemela motho a temo le tlotlo go costly thata mo motho wa terekere a ntse yana ka gore wa go duela madi heditse go molemela mme gape le ga jone o hetsa go molemela wa go tsa bo 3 weeks o ise o neelwe madi
ke bele dipudi ka mongameka ke bele ni pudi ka land body tle go nna go ka nna ga raro ba mejara ha ke sontse re ke bone mokwalo go khotle nna dikgang ke tswa ka ha ke tsengwa ka tsa gore ke direlo certificate
rena le masole ka tselanyana ene re tsamaya ka yona pula ene lane bana di lori tse di tona tse di methala metonas di senya tsela eo re hela re pheka ha modipane re ya kwa ka dina.
Member of Parliament Mr. Sekgoko said it is government's intention to facilitate farmers to succeed in producing food for the nation.
Kanya infrastructure mo masimo gore balemi ba rui ba rona molaodi ke batla gore re kopane ka gore ke yana tlhogo ya maphata ka kwano gore tota seemo se sa ditsela tsa di yang ko masimong metlakase e yang ko masimong di diba tse leng gore di a ipiwa re ka dira ka tselentseng jang.
Representatives from key stakeholders addressed the grievances of residents.
Ha re semola lenaneo la rona batsadi ne re diragetse gore re be re go duetse in 10 days me go supagala ha ke uta feedback from tractor owner gore gongwe re tsa nako etelele mme nka supagela gore mo nako ene re leka go ithulaganya gore ha le sengwe re gone go le duela in 48 hours.
Masimo a leng gore a na le a plus ya Fairfield ke sologela ke yone o buang ka yone really ba land board re sentse re le mo dipuisanong le ba bogosi go lebega ile gore gore polasi ke ya gamang go sentse e le gone re le kang go dira ditlhotlhomiso mme ke ra mang ke mongwe le ene wa batho ba ene gore re ne ra dirisanya le ene mme ra itlhelele gore tota hela peo ya gagwe e hitile selekanyo.
As the rain continues to pour countrywide, this year might bring some sort of relief to farmers who have long experienced drought. Monica BTV News, Tlokweng.
Magistrate Tshepileke Boletse has granted bail to the 31-year-old Bokamoso Setswalo of Gumare, who is alleged to have killed 24-year-old Ditshwanelo Majwa of Tauha on Christmas Day. The conditions given by the magistrate ordered that the accused should report to Gumare Police Station on Mondays every 2 weeks, and further, he was warned not to interfere with the ongoing judicial process. Meanwhile, Mr. Setswalo had pleaded with the court to grant him bail as he is the sole sole provider for his daughter and had promised not to interfere with the investigations. According to Inspector Karisano Ndiani, the accused and the deceased had a heated argument over spilled alcohol, and the accused allegedly slit the deceased's throat with a piece of bottle in the wee hours of Christmas Day last year. Inspector Ndiani further informed the court that the investigations into the case are nearly complete. Setswalo will appear for mention on the 3rd of February this year.
Quick look at your international news. Rescuers are racing against time to rescue hundreds of miners trapped in an abandoned shaft at the Buffelsfontein gold mine in Johannesburg, South Africa. At least 24 bodies, 37 survivors have been rescued, but over 500 miners remain underground, many ill and starving. The mine has been a tense standoff since November, with authorities attempting to force the miners out. Rights groups and activists argue that the miners are able to come out, but supplies are insufficient and many are dying of starvation. Some miners have emerged in the last 2 months and were arrested, with many too weak to escape. All right, that's where we're going to have to leave it for now. Let's get your sports news.
Thank you also very much, Khomotseho and Reggie, for that insightful news update. It's now time for your sport news, and I am Siti Kiahakwa. A fierce battle is expected as FNB Premier League log leaders Tavik welcomes 5th place Gaborone United in the second city, Francistown, this afternoon. Machiminyanga are currently leading the pack with 29 points, while Moyagolele sit on spot number 5 with 25 points. Let's hear more from Kagiso Monelekwa.
Tavik goes into the scheduled match after registering 9 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses from 13 games. To date, Machiminyanga, under the guidance of Elias Chinyamba, have scored 24 goals, making them the highest-scoring team thus far. In their last league clash last weekend, Tavik played a goalless draw with defending champions Joining Galaxy.
Preparations went very well. We did our technical training on Monday. The emphasis was more on crossing and finishing, just for 30 minutes. Then Tuesday morning we had our tactical training where we worked on how we want to attack and defend against the Gaborone United team. We have 3 players who are out through injuries and suspensions, and this will give other players who did not get a chance to play against Galaxy an opportunity to start the game in tomorrow's game. And trust me, we are going to give as much as we get against a strong Gaborone United side.
Gaborone United, who have just parted ways with their head coach Ponso Moloi, also played to a goalless draw with BDF 11 last Saturday. From 13 outings they've played so far, they've reached 7 wins, 4 draws and lost 2 games in the process, scored 23 goals and conceding 10.
The team is ready. We played BDF 11 on Saturday. Then on Sunday we kicked off our preparations for game Kamoso against Tavik. Despite the fact that we lost our head coach Ponso Moloi, ha ra letlela gore seo se distract batshameki ka se boeteledipele ba setlhopha bone ba addressa batshameki ka gona ka Sunday, and the boys are focused. We know botlhokwa ba motshameko wa letsatsi la kamoso against Tavik le gore go godimo kgalo ko mo nakong ya gompieno. We have a full squad, no injuries. We are looking forward to the game, and I believe gore ya gonna motshameko wa go kgatlhisa leitlho go ka leba. Re itse botlhokwa ba go fenya motshameko ka gore go tla be go ntse go ratumetsa le sona gaufi le sona setlhopha sa Tavik.
In the last 3 matches you played together, Gaborone United won 2 games while Tavik won 1. Kickoff time is 4 p.m. in the afternoon at Francistown Council Stadium. Kagiso Molelekwa, BTV Sport, Gaborone.
BOTSWANA Basketball Association Technical Director Tanos Moyo says they need to work hard in ensuring that basketball reaches all areas of the country by encouraging and supporting academies, as they are the ones who bring a large pool of players in the absence of school sport. Here is Khomuso Sefako.
In recent years,
The school sport program has provided a large pool of players for various sporting codes. Since its absence, sporting codes like basketball has a big challenge for grooming younger players as they don't have sufficient academies with less than 10 at the moment.
I don't want to lie to you that for now it is true. You find that we have in Gaborone alone we have about 15 teams, 15 basketball teams that are here. And in Gaborone alone, we have 6 female teams, and the rest of the country we don't have teams. So that's something that we really want to look at and work on and make sure that we reach to other regions of the country. And also you find that in Gaborone we have 6 or 7 academies, 1 academy in Serowe, 1 academy in Francistown, and we have Rabonaha program in Maun. So you see, we really need to push. We also I think we also have another academy in Pique. So we need to encourage more academies. I think that's the way to go. As long as we don't have school sports, so we need to push academies that are there and support them. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be supporting the academies, because even here in Gaborone, you see most of the kids that have made it in the final selection, they are kids that are coming from academies, kids that are consistently playing.
Moyo further said despite this challenge, basketball has made strides both in local and international scenes.
It's not bad. We're getting there. We competed in Ghana last year. We came 4th at the Africa Games. So that shows that we are doing well. We sent a team to Zimbabwe. Although we didn't make it very well for club championships, the team did very, very well. You could see with the margins that we were losing to that. It was just those were small margins, and I think we are now there, 100%, and we are going to be there.
He said with proper support from different stakeholders, they can grow the sport and also improve the status of basketball. Khomzo Sefako, PTV Sport, Gaborone.
And now, in wrapping up, parents of children involved in swimming have been encouraged to be mindful of what their children eat when preparing for competition, as well as during competitions, as the right diet can have a positive impact on their results. This was highlighted by renowned dietitian Nikki van de Villiers at the ongoing Botswana Swimming Sport Association Development Camp, which is held here in Gaborone.
De Villiers further pointed out that parents have a vital role in encouraging good nutrition on young athletes, saying they should set a good example because children are inspired by their parents in everything they do.
So what is your role? Unfortunately, you need to be the role model. So if you don't want them to eat the gummies, we can't buy a kilogram of gummies for the month. All right. If you don't want them to drink Coke, we don't put Coke in the fridge and drink it. All right, so whatever you do, they will do. I don't mean we never can do these things, but if you can control your behavior. If there's Coke, because I like Coke, and every night I drink 1 glass of Coke, that's good. They can.
The dietitian further stressed that the athlete's diet during training and on day of the competition can influence result, and it's therefore vital for parents to ensure that their children take the right nutrition during that period.
The problem sometimes is when you train hard, so swimmer wakes up, go to training, no breakfast. You know, you moaned, you groaned, everything, but he's going without breakfast. What then happens, if they're going to swim hard and they need the carbohydrate, because we've got small storage, you wake up with already half a tank. So halfway through that training, that tank is going to be empty. In that high intensity energy system, the body cannot use fat. Can only use carbohydrates. So what the body is doing is breaking down protein to supply amino acids to supply. So that amino acids is made into sugar to supply the high intensity.
What did the parents take home from the swimmers' nutrition seminar?
I was very interested to hear about the recovery aspect as well as what they put in into their bodies. And I'm happy to say that my daughter has been implementing the different aspects of nutrition into her training.
I will need to now involve him to know exactly how
intense or light the training session is, and then adjust the quantity of food that's being consumed and the type of food in line with that.
The Swimmers Nutrition Seminar is part of the ongoing 5 days long Botswana Swimming Sports Association Development Camp held at the University of Botswana, and it is expected to come to an end on Friday. Katlaho Kakwele, BTV Sport, Gaborone.
And that is how we come to the end of our sport news at this hour. At this time, let me take this moment to acknowledge Kelebonyi Babitseng Okatusa, who was translating this news in sign language. But do stick around because there is a lot more coming through from the sports desk. If you are motorsport fanatic, do not move an inch because shortly we'll be having a discussion on the developments happening at Botswana Motorsport.